Not least, you guys can reach out to us at NESLTV. But for now, we're about to get ready to jump into our first game of the day. Oz vs Nestea. The map is going to be played on Frost. And let's get this bad boy on the way.
Here we go, Kev. Right off the bat, we see that our players have both spawned in the top positions. Up in the top left-hand corner of Frost is, of course, that red Protoss player. His name is Oz. Perhaps taking a little bit after Grubby. We can only hope that Oz enjoys the same kind of popularity and success as Mr. Grubby. Up in the top right-hand corner of the map, Oz's opponent, the blue Zerg player, we're still rocking that incredible miracle tag. It is Nestea.
It's so cool to see Nestea again, man. It's been a while. We had the pleasure of casting him a couple of times in WCS America 2014. It wouldn't be fair to say that he has had a disappointing WCS season, because he did make it to the offline finals twice, in Season 1 and in Season 3. It was definitely awesome having Nestea here, because he's sort of like the grandfather of all the Koreans, and everyone just kind of like talks to Nestea, and then Nestea makes fun of people. We definitely had a good time. But it wasn't the year that I think many of his fans hoped for, and I guess that he hoped for himself, even though he still collected quite some money here and there. Let's not forget, all of the players that are currently in WCS have already secured themselves of $2,000. However, Ben, if you make to the round of 16 today, you can add another 1,000 to that.
That's absolutely right, man. A lot on the line. Of course, when you make it into the Premier League, every match is so incredibly important. It is technically double elimination in each group, but no player wants to find himself facing elimination when you're in a player pool that is this deep and this difficult to get through. We're seeing Nestea go for the pool first. Kev, we were talking before the show started about how interested we are to see what Nestea brings out. He qualified for Premier on the old maps that maybe were a little bit smaller, maybe favored some, we'll bust out hashtag cheeky, maybe favored some cheekier play, and you know, I don't know that the map pool in this iteration of WCS Premier is going to allow him to get away with the same kind of builds.
We will see. In the old days, he used to do a lot of crazy stuff as well with hatchery blockings, which didn't go that well for him in 2013. The series that I will always remember was the one against Jim, which was over in 9 minutes. Jim is just like, you want to block my natural? That's fine. I'll just kind of walk across the map and win. We saw Oz opening up pretty damn safe over here. He dropped the Forge, but it wasn't the Forge as in like I want to cannon rush. It was a little later, so very smooth for him to transition into this Nexus. At the same time, a bunch of links already out on the map to usher this probe away. I'm gonna keep my eyes wide open, man, because if there's one matchup that I struggle in a lot, it has to be Protoss vs Zerg.
Yeah, and I'm eager to see what Oz decides to do here. Well, it looks like we're gonna have a fairly old school game, as it's Forge expand for our Protoss player, a very quick 3 hatcheries for our Zerg player. And perhaps a little bit different from what may be considered the norm in modern day PvZ, where gateway openings are very popular, and some Protoss players are getting ballsy enough to go Nexus first into gateway, which just unlocks all sorts of crazy timings, as well as great setups for good economic play. So these guys doing it a little bit differently, maybe paying homage to their roots, as both Oz and Nestea have been around for a long time.
Oz not taking any chances over here, though, Ben. He's going to send out a second probe after that first probe got pushed away, and he will get the confirmation that A, a lot of drones are being transferred, and B, there's another hatchery going down in the natural. He would have loved to see if there was an extractor. That's why he would send that probe into the main base, because obviously you guys probably think, like, why would he do that? It's going to die anyway. If you can see an extractor, it's such a big tell or not. With this build, I wonder if he's going to chrono boost out warp technology a little bit and try to do something with a few gateway units and maybe a mothership core, or if he's going to play it very passive and drop his target immediately. But if he does that, he gives so much time and freedom to Nestea that I'm not sure if I would like that play.
So far, it's just been chrono boost on probes, as we see a very fast robo coming down from Oz, and that immediately has to get everybody wondering if we're going to see a very Immortal-centric style of play, or if Oz is in fact going to just continue to play the macro game. We've seen Protoss players go both ways with it, but you know, given the fact that it was a Forge expand, I have to be feeling like some Immortals are pretty likely.
Yeah, I'm kind of feeling the same way as well. This is also a good spawning location for it, and it's not the biggest travel distance that you could possibly imagine on Frost. And you know, man, since we jumped into this first game of the day so quickly, we didn't even have time to talk about this special day that's coming up.
You're right. WCS America Day 2 is coming tomorrow. Group B, we're going to get to see a lot of Zergs. We're going to get to see Scarlet come out. That is, in fact, an incredibly special day because Scarlet is the great American hope from Canada.
All right. And we have another special day in regards of any Zerg out there. The avid streamer, special member of the community, is going to celebrate his birthday while casting StarCraft. Ben, passion overwhelming.
I don't like to think about birthdays, Kev, because, well, I'm getting a little bit old.
You're not in your 30s just yet.
Am I going to be 28 or 29 tomorrow?
I think you're going to be 29.
Oh my God, I don't even want to think about it. That is like, that's the end of the road. That's when you know that your youth has officially ended.
A lot of Zerglings on the production tab, and speed is halfway on the way as well. Of course, that was a good scout for Nestea, as he saw those gates, he saw the robo, and he's already positioning these links up the ramp. He's like, you're not going to force field me out of my base today. I feel like Oz is just setting himself up. He has two plans. One, if he can win the game with force fielding off the ramp, hey, that's absolutely fantastic, and he will be whopping in units for days. But since it will most likely not be possible, Nestea needs to keep a few links on the low ground as well. That's exactly what he does.
This is a great play from Nestea. Perfect deflection. But Oz isn't all in on this gateway play. We see him chrono boosting out Immortals behind this. He's getting his weapons upgraded. This is going to be a very standard Immortal push.
Oh my God.
Nestea with a very, very interesting choice. Proxying the Spire, and that Warp Prism playing a very dangerous game. Does not manage to spot it initially.
Well, it seems like Nestea has a fantastic read on this game. He knows, he kind of knows that this is not absolutely all in for Oz. That's not where Oz is banking on winning this game. More gateways are going down, and above all, if this Warp Prism spots the Spire, that would be bad news for Nestea. Other than that, Ben, I really love the Spire. I think it's going to be fantastic. It's going to be a lot of sentries. Oh my God, the Warp Prism is so close to spotting the creep. Oh, he sees creep. And now he has to check, no?
Yeah, of course he will.
Oh.
And suddenly he's like, oh, mutas. And this gets very interesting because the Nestea was actually one of the first players ever to play Muta Ling against the Mortal All-Ins and just base trade. It can work, but the issue here is when you're going mutas, that initial group, the first 7, 8, in this case 10 mutas, aren't necessarily enough to clean up what's on the ground. We do see that Oz is pushing across the center of the map. Nestea doing a pretty good job with his lings, but Oz is microing exceptionally well, keeping a lot of these Zealots alive. More Zerglings are going to stream in. More Warpin's going to be going down at the same time. Oz pushing into the third expansion of Nestea. He's going to take out an Extractor immediately. Mutas are on the way, though. 12 mutas, and there is a huge wall of Spine Crawlers waiting in the natural.
Actually, he's going to need to wipe in a bunch of Stalkers real soon, though, with his main army. But this Spire will fall, so I think 13 Mutalisk is all that it's going to be for now. Maybe if Nestea can somehow start the fight before all the Stalkers are down.
Kev? He never made a Mothership Core?
Or maybe, well, let's focus on these Mutalisks. Well, Muta's taking a lot of damage. Nestea not paying attention, losing one of them.
Actually, super sloppy losing a Muta like this. There's not a Mothership Core on the map, which is incredibly interesting. The mutas are going to make their way across the map and start to try and initiate some kind of a trade. The power of the Immortals just crushing through the Spine Crawlers. Nestea is spining up again at the top of his ramp in his main base this time. He's going to try to take out the economy of Oz, making it impossible for Oz to reinforce. I just do not know, Kev. This is going to be very, very narrow.
I kind of like this, though. He's forcing 6 Stalkers to be wiped in defensively. He should bring the Mutalisk home right now. Then maybe... just maybe somehow has enough to clean up this army from Oz. Oz only on 24 workers now, Ben. If he pulls all the drone, all the Zerglings, this might be Nestea's only chance.
Force field is going to be the... oh, man, those are actually missed force fields. He's going to get the spawning pool. But does he have enough in this army to kill the mutas, the drones, and the Zerglings all together?
Maybe if the Mutalisk click on the Warp Prism, I think that would be the correct play. What do you think?
That's not what we're going to get. It looks like the mutas are just going to fight, and it does not appear
I think it will be enough.
Is it? It's so close. Queen's fighting. The mutas are starting to thin out, but there's only 3 Stalkers left. How much damage can Oz do before these mutas clean everything up? There's no spawning pool. The only thing Nestea can build are drones. Oh, this is going to be game-ending damage here, Kev.
Well, Oz lost a crazy amount of workers on the other side of the map as well. Nestea should just run around these drones for a little bit and not mine like this, I think. I think he's making it a little harder on himself. He lost a few more drones there.
But the Stalkers have crossed the map now.
Okay, the reinforcements.
And there's just no way to, well... I don't know. There's just not. It's not going to happen. Even if he does clean up these Stalkers, he's going to lose even more drones. And it's 25 drones. Never say never.
Yeah, exactly. I've seen
Oz
crazy
is really
things.
hanging in there. The Immortal continued to hammer away, but he did get surrounded by drones and is going to get taken out. And what a crazy development this has become. 32 probes against 23 harvesters for the Zerg player. This is a terrible position to be in if you're Zerg, and it's maybe a game-ending position, but he's got a new Spire finishing up, Kev, and he's got 400 gas. He's going to be able to pin Oz back for a little bit. It's hard
if he
to
would have
say
had a
he
few
can
more
recover.
drones, like even now if he takes his natural and he re-establishes that second base, he's still not able to saturate it, and that's a big problem. For a second I thought, you know, Nestea might be able to do something, but at the end of the day, like, he killed a lot of probes, but he didn't kill the Nexus, so Oz was still on 2 bases. He's chrono boosting out probes right now like crazy. He was all the way down to 24 workers, as he has lost 21 probes as well throughout this entire game. But now it's already back up to 40, and with Blink on the way, I do think that this one is pretty over, unless Nestea pulls out a miracle.
I mean, the thing about Muta, as many Protoss players will attest to, is if you let it go unchecked, if that Muta ball gets out of hand ever at any point, and you're defending it with just gateway units, it gets very, very difficult. So Oz is certainly in a good position, and he should win this game.
It's so unfortunate for Nestea that Spire got spotted. It was so extremely close, and there's a certain point the wipe was like, creep? There must be something there. And also I loved how Oz wiped in those Zealots like 5 seconds before +1 finished up. So the Zealots with +1 and the force field just did an excellent job in taking out so many of the links, also decreasing the larva count of Nestea. Otherwise I think it would have been a brilliant decision, because it would have been a very sentry Zealot Immortal heavy army, maybe with a few Stalkers, but if only 50 Mullahs show up, which, you know, normally Nestea would have had A, money for, and B, time for. That could have been fantastic.
Nestea's spining up once again, in spite of his pretty impaired economy. It's 30 drones against 50 probes. A great position to be in if you're Oz, who's just producing lots of Stalkers. He's making cannons. He's continuing to sort of ramp up, in a sense. And all Nestea's doing is trying to not die here, and hope beyond hope that he can establish some kind of formidable Muta force. But it's looking very grim.
It's so nice for Oz as well that he wiped in these cannons before, so he doesn't have to do it right now. He can leave a few Stalkers behind if he really wants to, because he has a terrifying army. He did, I won't say he did not scout for a while, but actually he did, because he has an observer idling in the natural from Nestea. So poor Nestea, man. You know, even if he makes a bunch of more spines in the natural might be safe, but there is plenty of high ground vision for Oz with all these sentries that can hallucinate Phoenixes, and of course the observer here as well. You know, you can always blink into the main base, and what is Nestea gonna do then? Picking up the Cybercore is kind of nice. That means no more Stalkers, but we already have 18 of them, so.
That's a large force of Stalkers, and as we can see, Oz is already setting up to do just that. He wants to blink up into the main. Actually, no, he's just going to fight these spine crawlers, and with a little bit of blink micro, he's going to have very little trouble dispatching these spine crawlers. 5 more Stalkers warped in already. There was a new Cybercore built up in the main base because Oz is way too smart and is not going to fall for those kind of shenanigans. A force field on the ramp is not even necessary, as Nestea's going to fly in with what he has, but the inevitability of the situation is that he does not have enough.
Guardian Shield is so extremely effective in situations like this, when the Muta count is not that high, but things would sort of spiral out of control if there are links to support it as well, but Guardian Shield neglecting so much damage. Beautiful blinks as well by Oz, as he will win game number 1 over here on Friday.